Today's video I wanted to be about some underappreciated folks. I lost my friend Jad, and Jad was my best friend in high school. He loved Metal Gear Solid and Halo and The Simpsons, when The Simpsons was pretty good. Like the best show out there at the time. He would regularly quote Homer Simpson. Anyway, later on, I went off to my job and he became a missionary, where he was spreading the word of God to the Japanese people and in Brazil. He was talking about how the people in Brazil, they didn't have a lot of access to video games like he did. So he wanted to start a video game store down there. That was his plan for the future. But God or whatever didn't let him do that. Instead, he was given a blood disorder and he died. Anyway, he wrote me a letter. It's in a frame on my wall. We're just talking about, how he hasn't talked to me in a while, and I called him because I felt bad for not getting back to him right away. And when his mom answered the phone, I said, "Is Jad there?" And she started crying and talking about how she felt I was a good friend to him, and told me that he had died of a blood disorder. Jad was, through and through, in my opinion, a good person. There's really nothing about his personality that made him malicious or anything. It was just a pretty cool guy, and obviously by him becoming a missionary, it showed you what a good guy he is. There's other people who I've lost in my life, like my grandpa. I lost him when I was 7 years old. He used to always ask us if we were his friend whenever we'd ask him for anything. Like if we wanted cookies or whatever. He'd say, "Are you my friend?" after we'd ask him for it. And I would always say yes. But my sister liked to say no, because that's my sister's personality. But I would always say yes, and I'd always have my feelings hurt when my sister said no, because when I was a kid, I was a lot more emotionally in tune to not hurting people's feelings, if you can believe it. My grandpa died of lung cancer, and coincidentally, I had asked him to do a report with me for school on how long he had been smoking. He had been smoking since he was 10 years old. When he was a kid, there were a lot of doctors telling people that smoking was healthy. A lot of people were paid off by corporations, a lot of corruption. That's my assumption. And because he was set up as a child to be addicted to these things, he was addicted till the day he died. And he died slowly and miserably. At some point, he lost the ability to pee, so he was essentially peeing inside of himself, according to the person I spoke to. And he shriveled up, became corpse-like, and died because of smoking. Slow and horrible death. My cousin He died to gang violence. He was shot in the head. He and I hung out briefly, and he was a really sweet kid when we did hang out. I think he was a few years younger than me. But I can only assume that my family wasn't there for him because he was a distant cousin, and I wasn't too involved in his life. He did work on my roof for my backyard. I'm not sure if any of you guys remember that, but I paid him and my uncle to work on my roof for the shed and the garage. I turned it into a studio for recording YouTube videos, and they did a great job. I literally don't really have any stories about that cousin due to the fact that I just wasn't around. He wasn't around enough. My mom didn't associate enough. But I did see at the funeral that a lot of people had the same experience. They rarely saw him, which is probably why he wound up in a gang. No family support system. Anyway, I'm running out of time. But I just wanted to share, for today. There's more. I've lost a number of people to death. But I wanted to start this topic to give my forum members the 18+ oni.red. It's a URL, a weird URL, oni.red, like, it doesn't even sound like a URL. But I wanted to give my forum members a chance to talk about their lost loved ones.